Hi, my name is Layla Perry, and you're watching Under the Covers, my show about the risks taken, the mountains climbed, and the victories behind some of the biggest game changers shaping culture and entertainment today. Our next guest is Doug Farrell. He has graced some of the biggest Hollywood films and TV shows. His credits include Star Wars, American Crime, Scream Queens, Urban Tarzan, MTV, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Entourage, Return of the Jedi, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. If that wasn't enough, he's trained in mixed martial arts, Krav Maga fighting, medieval, samurai sword fighting, and combat knives. He's won a large collection of coveted and highly competitive awards, which is really insane, including 5 gold medals for bench pressing 360 pounds. That is so heavy. He's a world champion power lifter. He won an award for that. He won an award for 2 different Paralympic Games in both Sydney and Atlanta, as well as a silver medal for the U.S. Olympic Festival. His stuntman credits include off-road vehicles, motorcycles, cars, horses, motorbike road racing, dirt track, jet ski jumping, all stunts and stand-in for kids, free fall. He is a SEAL team stunt driver. That's amazing. Nickelodeon Stunt Fight Squad, and Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars Jawa actor. He's absolutely incredible. Please welcome to Under the Covers, my friend Doug Farrell. Hi, Doug.
Thank you.
Clap, clap.
You forgot that I made it to the White House twice.
You made it to the White House?
Yeah. Well,
Dang.
after when you compete, the Olympics and the Paralympic athletes,
Okay.
when their games are all done, they get invited to the White House.
Jeez.
So the first time in American history, Paralympians and Olympians, because Paralympians, if no one knows, they're people with disabilities, whether it's amputees, cerebral palsy, dwarfism, they all get to compete on their level. And then Olympians are able-bodied. You know, they just don't have a disability. So those are 2. So the first time they all athletes were picked to go to the White House during Clinton.
Wow.
And we got to have a whole week going out talking to kids that are high risk
Wow.
of crime and stuff like that, and drugs, and especially around the White House. That whole place area is all really bad. You think it'd be nice all around the whole lot, but outside of the White House, it's sad. But that's
Wow. How did that feel to be invited? Because I think I would like to be invited to the White House.
that was beautiful, because I mean, you're going to the White House presidents, all that been there, from John F. Kennedy on up to Clinton and all these guys that protected us, or played part of president here. And it was exciting. It was very exciting.
That's awesome. So I love to start my show actually talking about like where you came from as far as your childhood. Where did you grow up? What was that like?
It was actually it was great. I mean, it's like, sure, I had surgeries as a kid, but I lived on a ranch. We had horses, everything, and there was no I can't do it in my family. You can do it.
I love that.
Rode horses, motors, like I said, played baseball, little league and stuff. And then it came the time where I had to have surgery for orthopedic surgery on my legs. So that kind of broke out, 5 years, 6 years of my life. And
Meaning what? Like you were just in the doctor's office?
No, I had surgery, so I couldn't play anymore.
Oh.
So they broke my legs and put them back together.
Ow.
Yeah.
Was
So
that
Shriners Children's
painful?
Hospital.
Yeah.
Well, the medication back then, it's like what they gave soldiers. This is funny, but it's not funny. But Vietnam, it's like I forget what the medicine they gave them. We got the same stuff, just
So
to
you
take
were
the pain
fine.
away. Yeah. Oh yeah. When I woke up and I told the nurse, I said I'm in pain, because they break one leg, put it back together, put a cast on it, let it heal for 2-3 weeks.
Wow.
And then do the other leg. So I was in there for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then do the other one. But the medicine was where, it's at nighttime, you wake up and you're in pain, and you push the button for the nurse, and she comes in,
Wow.
and gives you a shot of morphine.
Yeah, morphine.
And that's all they pretty much had back there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you told me earlier that you're one of 6. You're the youngest of 6?
3 boys, 3 girls. And I'm a baby.
Wow. You said that your parents were of the thought like everybody can do anything, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that shaped you? Because I feel like so many of your accolades are so impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I could climb a tree. Everything was bigger, but I wasn't, when you're living on a ranch and you're not just really thinking about what you are or what you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to do what everybody else can do.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wouldn't stop. You keep going, and so, your parents tell you, you could do what anybody else could do. You just got to maybe work harder at it and stuff. And you learn about it. When I was in the hospital, I learned that I was a little person.
Mm-hmm.
And, you don't know that when you're kids, and your parents don't say that. And they're trying to learn, too. After there's 6 of us kids, and all of them are average size, my parents, too. And I'm the only little person in the family, so they need to learn, too. So when we're going to Children's Hospital, we're being educated.
Yeah.
Just like I educate people, when I go talk to kids and junior achievement programs. And so we all learn that, but doctor says, you could do anything else do. I mean,
I think you can do more than what most people can do. These stunts are so impressive.
Yeah, it's like, if it's like back then they didn't make little motorcycles. Mm-hmm. So what my brothers did, they would stick me on a big motorcycle and tell me, and this is how I think I became a stunt person, because they said, don't worry about the motorcycle. Motorcycle's not going to get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the motorcycle goes, just roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to wrestle in school. So, but I mean, just roll down the dirt. I didn't ride on the street. I wasn't allowed to. But when you wreck the motorcycle, jump, roll.
Yeah.
You fall off the horse, jump, roll.
Yeah.
Back then dirt was soft. There was always rain all the time, and playing in the mud, racing in the mud, and stuff like that. So that's how I just really it was fun,
Yeah. It's so interesting because I feel like sometimes it's easier to get from 10 to 100 than it is to get from 0 to 10 or 0 to 1 even.
Yes.
So I'm curious, when you first had the thought or the hope and dream of like, I want to make it on Hollywood or in Hollywood.
My hope and dream was I wanted to be, the doctor asked me when I'm sitting there, he goes, Doug, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be a football player.
Wow.
And it's so like, as years went on, all growing up and doing all the stuff you like to do and what you want to be, and you're not even thinking Hollywood, because I'm Northern California, wine country, Sonoma County. Mm-hmm. I'm way far from Hollywood, and one TV in the house. You're kind of like, you're still like what's out there, and so those were things. I was just playing football. When I went back from the Children's Hospital, they let me play the last game with my brother, but they said you can't play football, because my legs might, just snap.
Mm-hmm.
So they
because
just
of the
told
surgery.
Me, they just, back then technology for, orthopedics for kids and stuff was not really, strong at that time, not really. And so they told parents, no, you can't do that, But I used to ride with my brothers on the motorcycles, and they teach me, and they would, and they were big motorcycles for the dirt, and they would hop off. And like I said, don't worry about yourself. Don't worry about the bike. The bike's not going to get hurt. But if it stalls, let it fall and roll. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I learned to ride motorcycles, and but wanting to be a football player was like, I got to later on in life be a photographer for the Oakland Raiders.
Cool.
And then I shot the Giants. I got to shoot Kobe Bryant. In the Lakers, I'm very lucky, because there's things that I can't do that all the average out there can do. Mm-hmm. But then there's other things that I can do that I've got. I was fortunate. I mean, to be on the sidelines, the best athletes in the world. I golfed with Michael Jordan up this celebrity golf tournament in Lake Tahoe.
Epic.
That's every year. It's a great tournament, and and it's beautiful weather to come out and watch, and it's so I'm fortunate and wanted to be a football player. But the closest I got, photographer on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But obviously when you got older, you're like, Doug, you're 4'5", 120 pounds. You're not going to be able to play football, but at least you can be water boy. Mm-hmm. And equipment manager and photographer, and then as time went on, I was going to the gym, and before you know it, I get this little letter in the mail for a Little People's Convention and World Dwarf Athletic weightlifting competition, and
wow.
And
so it is very similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Weightlifter turned into actor. Is that what the progression was? That is so funny.
All the above. Yeah.
Wow, cool.
No, yeah. So that.
Had you been weightlifting prior to that?
Didn't start weightlifting till my brothers told me I was getting fat.
Leave it to your siblings.
Yeah. Well, my brother 11 months older than me. He was the bully.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So it's like he's the one that threw me across out of the room. I mean, in the bedroom. You got 3 brothers, and they're over 6 feet tall.
Wow.
200 something pounds, and they want to turn you into a little doughboy and throw you across and thinks it's fun.
Jeez.
And I thought it was fun. And a lot of times, we're all in one bedroom. You have no choice. It was like one time we're all the time. Brothers say, if you can get to the door, you can get it out, but otherwise you're going to wrestle. And I had to wrestle.
So that's probably why you're so strong.
I was just a little toy to them.
Yeah.
And so it was wonderful.
Yeah. So you decided to enter this bodybuilding competition, right?
No, powerlifting.
Powerlifting.
That's what got sent to me, and then I saw that's wow. But I did do bodybuilding at Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Later on, but powerlifting got me strong and big, and it was a piece of paper that I got invited to the San Francisco to the Dwarf Athletic Games, and that's what got me to the Paralympic Games.
Okay.
So I was beating all records. So I was winning.
Yeah.
And I kept lifting, getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I qualified and made it.
That's incredible.
I made it.
Because, I mean, that's as significant as the Olympics. That is the Olympics.
Oh, it's just as
it's every 4 years.
If you ask the president of the Olympic Committee, he'll say, it's just significant. You guys are just as important as the Olympians.
Yeah, it's just as hard to do, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, you see some of these guys that have no legs, they're benching over 500 pounds.
Wow.
And they're weighing, because no legs, they're weighing like, I want to remember, maybe 160, 170 pounds.
Wow.
So they're just all their upper body and just huge, like a big football player. And the arms are 21-inch arms, and they're just all stacked.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you have the guys with no legs that run 100 meters and beat the able body.
Yeah.
So
it's so interesting because the reason why I'm doing this show is because I really feel like I'm an underdog, and when you feel like you start out from a place that's, at least in my experience, like perhaps underqualified to achieve your dreams, you think, well, the only thing that can get me there is the power of my beliefs. And it's funny because I was just at a family reunion and I came across this old necklace I had, and I'd written on it, "Hope floats." And I was like, so interesting that at the start of my musical journey, the number one thing I knew that I needed was hope, because you really do. Like, for anybody to achieve any medal, that means that you have to believe not only that you can do it, but that you can actually be better than everybody else. And if you don't have that level of self-belief, you'll never actually take the steps and apply the discipline.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, did you enter into those situations thinking, oh, I just want to see what happens? Or did you think, I am going to crush it?
They told you, it's like, you can do it. And I said, it's like, it's something I wanted to do. And there was avenues I had to go. And they told me, oh, you can't do it. Outside, people, well, you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to do that. I'm like, screw you.
Yeah. Did you tell that to their face, or did you just hold it in?
Well, there'd be sometimes the kids, bullies. And I'm trying to remember now. It's funny that we're asking this question about, when do you remember they told you couldn't do this or you couldn't do that? Well, doctors told you you're not going to be able to do that, medical field.
Which is actually, I feel like it should be illegal, because I feel like doctors are so quick to say, oh, you're going to have this your whole life. You can't do this. You can't. But I feel like so many times that's proven wrong.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know if they're afraid to, because you have a medical condition and they don't want, your legs to snap or, whatever. But it's like, back then there wasn't enough, social media wasn't big where you could see what you can do, what's available out there, what medical things that you could do to make you better, therapy, everything that makes you stronger, faster, taller, whatever. They tried that. Doctor says, hang on a pole and you'll get taller. And I was like,
did a doctor actually say that?
Told my parents, get a thing in the thing so stretch the spine out while you're growing. When I was a kid, and it happened, they gave me, Children's Hospital gave me braces, so you grow in your sleep. Humans do.
Okay.
So when I was sleeping between 1 and 5, and you were growing, they would give kids braces, and you wear them to bed.
Huh.
Yeah, and so then they'll put a little stretch on it, and a little tension.
Did
And
that
so
hurt?
well, you didn't really feel it. I
Okay.
don't remember.
Okay.
It's like
You're so young.
and to grow straight too.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
because when they grow crooked, and a lot of children have bow leg, and all type of leg disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Could be anything.
Yeah.
There's so many out there, that terminology that I can't really tell the guests and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
it's but it's very, very rewarding when you accomplish the things that they said that you couldn't do.
Nothing beats that feeling.
No, it's a high, and it's like, and I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm not done. It's like, we just did a movie with Brandon Fraser, and he just won an Oscar, and he's the one that hurt me in the movie we did, and it hasn't been released, and I can't say nothing. I'm sorry, people. It's just the rules, and so I've been recovering, and I'm like, you're so antsy, you want to go, so you don't want to stop, and you can't keep me indoors. I'm still like a little kid. I want to go play.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. I don't like sitting indoors. I need to go to the gym. I need to go to the gym. I need to go throw the ball. I need to go to the track. I need to.
Yeah.
Even my walker, when I was recovering from surgery, you see those walkers that people have, and the old people, injured people do too. I run.
Cool.
I just run with it, because it's like, the doctors didn't want me to do a lot of wobbling, like a flat tire one side, and you're gonna hurt the other hip.
Mm-hmm.
So one good hip is good, but the other hip is bad. You want to be walking, either walking sticks, or but keep the body, standing straight up. So now I'm, I go out and run. I don't want to get heavy.
Yeah.
And I did get heavy the last 8 months, and I'm like, I didn't even notice it. And I'm like, wait a minute, Doug, you know what to do. No sugar. Come on, no bread. What the heck is going on here? And you're like, pants got a little tight, something. Went to sit down, and you're like, you want to go out, and you're like, those pants aren't working.
Oh, no.
Or they,
Yeah.
I don't want the shirt getting smaller.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. On Instagram a couple days ago, I saw this list of rules that somebody had thought they'd learned in life. And the first one was all desire creates suffering. And then at the very end, it says all growth comes from suffering. And it's like very true that desire creates suffering, but that suffering is the opportunity to recreate your reality and build a future that's different than your past. And also to like push through the boundary and push past the boundaries that other people put on you too.
No pain, no gain, as we've always said. And it's like, there's always going to be pain, and you have to, I'm trying to think of this motivational speaker, Coach. I mean, he's like the biggest motivational speaker, and they call him Coach, and he's awesome. And he says, you got to get up in the morning. Don't hit the snooze. Get up and go. And you're going to lose out on the next person that's going to beat you. And, when I was in Georgia doing the movie here for 3 months, I got up early, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. Had to be on the set at 5 sometimes, and sometimes 7. But I got up, and you have to go, because, if you want to beat the other person, you want to be better than the other person, and better as, my skills, or better myself. I don't want to be, sure, better than the other competitor, or not as an actor or stunt people. We're all together. It's a team together, but it's rewarding, and it's like you got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Go talk to a lot of the athletes. Go talk to Michael Jordan. Go talk to Aaron Rodgers. All these athletes I've talked to, been around 20 years. Every year we're all together, and just they get up early. They don't win. They don't want to lose, because someone else is going to beat them. Someone's going to get up earlier than them and go train harder than them. Yeah. Someone's going to tie their shoe tighter than the other one. Someone's going to have more protein than the other person, and just more massages, physical therapy. There's the edge, and that's why I always looked for what's the edge that I can do to beat him, or just be a great athlete and feel good about myself, and say at the end of the day, I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That feeling.
No one could take it away from you.
Yeah.
No one could take my medals away from me, my newspaper, sports ads, yeah, and, photos, and it's rewarding.
Do you feel like after you achieve so much greatness, which you have, do you feel like people still doubt you, or do you feel?
I've never, it's funny. I was just getting ready to say that when I was a little kid growing up and being bullied all the time when my brothers weren't around, and it's like, okay, you're gonna doubt me or you're gonna do this. I'm gonna go stronger, be stronger, and more. Um, it's a funny thing I'll say, and the little people, they're all, not all, some of them are defensive because if you're winning and you're doing good, and if you're, here I double Peter Dinklage, so, and another friend of mine, Joe Griffo, doubles him. But if you're doing good in some organizations, they're not happy for you. You've seen that. I think we've all seen it. As competitors on the field, soccer field, where the girls on the other team or whatever, or the guys on the basketball team. I've seen it. Whether you're a little person or wheelchair, or all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's so funny because I feel that too. I remember hearing this quote forever ago that said jealousy is unhappy admiration. And sometimes it's easy to take it personally and think, oh, this person is trying to bring me down. Like there must be something wrong with me. But then every time I remember that quote, I think, well, sometimes you just don't know what's going on for the other person.
Oh, you don't, yeah.
Yeah. And I find that it is people that are going through their own struggle. Like people that are really happy will never bring you down.
Yeah, they're happy for you.
Yeah.
And they've been there.
Yeah. I want to know, so how did you go? Because initially it seems like you did all of these competitions and you won all of these awards, which in and of itself, if that was like the beginning and end of your career, it's really impressive. But then you have this whole other element to your life, which is film and television. So how did you enter into Hollywood?
My wife played E.T.
Oh, cool.
So when I won my first,
like, what do you mean by that? And she was in the movie?
She was E.T.
She was E.T.?
She was E.T.
Talk about knock on wood, claim to fame.
Yeah, so.
That's impressive.
So when I went to San Francisco, we were talking about, I won my first weightlifting competition at the Dwarf Athletic Association. Sometimes I slip on that. And where I started winning my gold medals and where my career started to go to the Olympics, that's where I met her. And she was there doing a commercial. And we lived up in, both did. It's funny. And her sister her family went to school with my family, but we had never met. We just crossed paths in San Francisco. And Lucasfilms is up there, Skywalker Ranch.
Right.
And I started doing, when they went in, started going into, what is it? Went from film to
TV.
Well, trick photography. Now it's morely like.
So you were near Lucasfilms where they filmed.
I lived up there. No, I lived in San Jose. Excuse me. My family lived up there, and they lived next to her family. 20 minutes away, and so that's how I got into showbiz. Lucasfilms. She did Howard the Duck through Lucas. So she did stunts too, as an Ewok.
I love Ewoks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they're cute.
They're cute.
So that's how it started. And I said I had to get to L.A. if you want. We were getting work, or at least I was getting work, and more. She stayed with the real job.
So did she introduce you to the?
We started dating.
Okay.
So then that's one. 1 + 1 is 2.
Right.
So she was already with Lucasfilm. She was already with big. With what was the other movies? Big guys that she did with Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, Howard the Duck. There's more. And yeah, so that's how I got started, and I wanted to keep continuing, and then things got slow, and I said, okay, it's time to move to LA.
Wow.
We lived in Sacramento, so it was time to, instead of going back and forth, I was missing auditions.
Yeah.
I was, or I wasn't missing the audition. It was just like, then I need to come back, and I need to, so
Wow.
that's how it started.
So you moved to LA, and then what? Like, how did you get an agent? How did you?
Oh, okay. Well, there's people, that know agents, in the organizations. You just had some friends that said, hey, Doug, give this person a call, give that person a call. And then a couple buddies that have an agent turned me on to their agent, and then there we went.
Wow. Which, by the way, I think good for those guys, because I think sometimes people feel competitive or protective over their opportunities.
Yeah, they all are. I mean, I've seen it, and it was for me too when I got here. It was even when I was winning weightlifting. I didn't know anybody, and and you go to get your medal, and they're all like, little drama queens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just could tell.
Yeah. It's also something that I've always wondered about is being an actor is such a fun, it's such a seemingly fun job. I feel like if anybody thought that they could wave a magic wand and become an actor, they probably would.
Yeah.
But the audition process, I find, is really disheartening because you show up, like you said, you get there an hour early.
Always.
You're in there for 5 minutes, and then you don't hear back from them unless you book it. But there's so many people that their life mission and goal is also to book that role. So how do you not get discouraged when you don't hear back or when it's a no?
Do about 100 of them.
Okay.
And then, you know what's going to happen. If you don't get it, that's all right. Wait for the next one.
Yeah.
Wait for the next one. Next one's going to come.
Yeah.
When they call you and stuff like that, when you walk out of there, you just hope for the best and start pushing for another one,
Yeah.
And then, but it is because you work hard, and, you go into the audition and you got 3 or 4, maybe 6 to 10 people sitting in front of you, and they're either do a reading or do an acting or do a stunt.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk out of there and you go, darn, I felt good. That felt real good.
Yeah.
I think I got it. But then you find out, you didn't get it. Well, if the word gets out, if you're not called in 24 hours, then someone else got it. Then you hear who else got it, And sometimes you're happy for them,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be that way.
Yeah. What happens if like it is pretty emotionally intense, especially if it's like a scripted role or something, to prepare for an audition? What happens if you happen to be having a bad day and you just spent 2 hours stuck in LA traffic getting to an audition? How do you clean your energy so that you're showing up being the absolute best you can be?
Go have a Red Bull. No.
That's actually pretty, probably works.
Eat some marijuana brownies. I don't know. Yeah,
Nice.
it's you just brush it off.
Okay.
And just put some rock and roll music on and go on, go to the gym, go to the beach.
Yeah.
Go do stuff you like. It's a job, and you signed up for it, and this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And, it's, obviously it's like, with your career, I mean, you're hoping you get booked in New York, get booked in Chicago, all the singers are.
Yeah.
Get booked in, LA, San Francisco, your 4 big spots of entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just wanting that job. And, we got to pay bills too.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you ever think I should have a plan B or a backup?
Always a plan B.
What is your plan B?
It's fun.
Male porn star. No.
Well, it's like, plan B, I don't want to go back to customer service.
Yeah.
And, I was an entrepreneur when I was a kid because I'd find bottles, I'd sell the bottles. I'd get baseball cards and I would sell them and trade. And I would find things and you trade with the kids and you work your way up, and you get in school and you find the little jobs and, and you sell things that you shouldn't have sold.
Mm-hmm.
And, but you just survived, and Well, Hollywood's here, so I'm not going to go nowhere. I mean,
Yeah.
if I have to work at the food placement, it's
Yeah.
not, it's I've set myself up to not to fail,
Mm-hmm.
and always either buy stock or invest in a home, have something to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Denzel Washington, listen to his most motivational speak. Fall back. Go forward, don't fall back. If you fall back, get back up. But there's so much out there. I mean, come on, we live in America. There's so many things that we can do that if all of a sudden if I weren't to do stunts no more, there's going to be a time. But prepared.
Yeah.
Get hurt, stuff. I have insurance, so there's all those things everybody has to prepare for.
Yeah.
I mean, if you lost your voice, what's your goal? What do you have? What are you prepared for? Or if someone loses a limb,
Yeah.
you just got to really think and mom and dad's not there for you no more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I try to remind myself how important it is to trust myself to fail,
Right.
because I think actually a fear of failure stops you from actually trying.
well, Arnold says that if you listen to his motivational, he talks about failing.
Yeah.
He says they told him what he could do, he couldn't do. He says couldn't. He says they told me I couldn't be a bodybuilder. And then he says all the U.S. Olympiads. He won. He goes, they told me I couldn't do that. They told me I couldn't be a movie star. That my voice, they said that his voice couldn't do it until James Cameron called him and did Terminator.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to change. They wanted to, but they said, he was too big, and had an accent. But they wanted to use his body. He says that. He says that. Now I got it, and everything's coming to me now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
And he beat all odds.
Yeah.
And what you were just saying, so those words, he exactly says that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Last time I was in LA, he was telling me that the best part about getting to the top of a mountain is that you have a better perspective to see how many more mountains there are, and that you assume that when you get to the top, you will be happy. But actually, it's the climb and having that direction and saying like, oh, that is the point I want to get to. What can I do? That like creative process and that struggle, that is actually like the fun part about life. Because once you get to the top, there's like, there's nothing there. It's just like a moment.
You gotta look around which way you got to go down. And I hated climbing mountains just as a physical wise, and and also because it's true. You go up a mountain. Oh, you don't see the other. Until you're climbing the mountain, also when you get to the top, you see the other peak.
Mm-hmm.
You climb that mountain, then you see the other peak, but you're not seeing the peak when you climb the second mountain or the third mountain.
Yeah.
So until there's no more peaks, you have to keep climbing.
Yeah.
And then you go, okay, now I can breathe and turn around, and going back down is easy.
Yeah.
So okay, I made it to the top. So the mountain is a great, example.
Yeah.
Peaks. Valleys we'll go through.
So I have a question, because the third part about your career, which is really amazing, is all the stunts. And when you talk about your childhood, it makes sense because you were playing around with all of these crazy things in the first place. But when you're actually putting your physical well-being on the line to do your job, how do you juggle that? Because I imagine when you get your first or whatever job it is, they say, okay, we want you to do this. If it was me, there'd be a moment in my mind where I'd be like, oh, maybe I don't want to do this.
Yeah, because you don't want to take on something that you can't do.
Yeah.
So obviously you kind of know what's going on, what stunts, what's going on before you get there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stunt coordinator calls you or the director, and then they call you and say, we need you to jump out of a car or roll out of the car. But no matter what, it's like, okay, so it's mind-boggling, because it's like, but you got your elbow pads, and you got your spine pads and knee pads and everything that's underneath our clothing that everybody sees, and even underneath the carpet, underneath the leaves, and the outside there's pads there that we land on.
Okay.
I had to.
That's really interesting, actually.
I had to jump out of last year I had to jump out of a window like the old style houses, Victorian, and where You know, you jump the window. You have each room has a window Victoria kind of like old style lift up, and you get out on the roof, and the roof's like 10 feet slanted 90 degrees.
Jeez.
And then 10 feet to the ground.
Oh boy.
So I had to jump through the window, and I didn't. Well, first we practiced, and I was at the stunt lab, and we were practicing. And thanks, Lane Lovett. Practicing. We put wood up together where I jumped 3 feet through the window, and we made a window seal, and then land on my feet and roll. Well, they changed it when I got there.
Oh no.
I'm like, oh shit. But everything was the same degrees. There was a mat underneath the leaves of the roof, but and the glass is called candy glass, so it just shatters. You just touch it with your arm. So they say, Doug, you don't have to run. We're not gonna. I was where I was gonna run. I just hit, tap it with my shoulder, hit it hard, and get myself rolling, and I had to land on my shoulder and roll. So it was 3 feet down. So my feet wasn't, where my shoulder was going to land. It was 3 feet down and not my feet. And so I had to like do a roll, and then another 10 feet off. But it went behind you. The audience doesn't see it because I land behind a car. Mm-hmm. And the angle of the camera is straight at the roof. And then I go out of camera. Mm-hmm. But yes, I'm not ready for that.
Are you ever scared? Like, I would be very scared.
If you're not scared, then, you're always scared to get jitterbugs. When I get on my dirt bike and go motocrossing, my stomach is turning when I got the motorcycle in the back of my truck and we're going to the races. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, my stomach's going, and then you're pulling in through the front gate, and you're hearing all the motorcycles and you're giving the money out just to get through the gate and we're racing, and you just hear all the bikes, and you're like, oh man. Then you're putting the gear on. Everything's getting more like intense. Mm-hmm. And then same with, you're entering, to the scene of the movie, and you're like, okay, you make sure everything's buckled up and tight and elbow and, and ready to go. And, and we do a couple practices, and after that first practice, and it's like, okay, good. Now I know, it's going to be okay,
Then why do you do it if it's, because like for me, maybe it's because I'm a girl.
Adrenaline.
Okay, because I do not. I was asked to sing at this convention, and they asked me to come to the day before to just check it out. And there's this motivational speaker. He's actually great. His name is Erwin McManus, and he was talking about.
I've heard that name. Yeah.
He was talking about how freedom is on the other side of your fear, and that you just have to take the leap of faith.
Yeah.
And then they got it was like a biohacking convention, so random. They took the entire group of people there onto the roof of the Beverly Hills Hotel, I think, one of those hotels. And actually, I think it's like the Waldorf now. But anyways, they had built a structure on the roof of the hotel that was like, I think 2 or 3 floors high, and then a little inflatable thing that you can just like jump into. And I've always been scared of heights. And I remember walking up this platform, and I was like, I'm going to Instagram this. This is me conquering my fear. I'm not even scared. And then I get to the top, and the girl before me was like too scared to jump. And then I think I realized, oh yeah, like there's a reason why she's too scared to jump. And I was just at the top of this platform I lost track of time, but the next thing you know, it's like all the crowds that were like cheering to get you to jump were no longer there. The sun had set. I was the last person on this platform, and I realized that like even though I kept on trying to jump, my body wouldn't physically let me
I felt that.
Jump.
Oh no, I felt that before too.
And it was the weirdest thing. And this woman came up to me who happened to work for Tony Robbins, and she said, she actually walked up the stairs. She's like, so you have 2 options. You have the option to jump and to feel proud of your courage, or you have the option to walk down the stairs and give yourself grace. And I just started crying because I realized I hadn't given myself the option of walking down the stairs. That's why I was stuck there for so long.
I know how you feel.
Yeah, and I was like, I need grace, but I would like to have courage one day to jump.
Just jump. Yeah, it's when you're on the bottom and you're looking up at it, at where that jump's going to be, and you're like, oh, that's not far.
Right.
That's not far at all. It's like even a basketball hoop, 10 feet. And you're looking up, oh, that's not, God, these guys don't jump far. Then you get up 10 feet, look down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't have brakes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going down a hill on my dirt bike, motorcycle, and stopping, or, it's free fall, and you cannot stop.
Mm-hmm.
You have to plan that landing and stick everything. And
Are you allowed to say, never mind, I can't do this? When you've already been hired?
You're allowed to do it, but you won't get a call again.
Okay. So that's hard.
Never even go. And the other thing is too, you get hired, don't come there injured, and don't tell the stunt coordinator
That you're injured.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's a no. It's because you're putting their job on the line. You're putting, the whole movie thing, and you were selected, and they're the one you want, and you got the audition, and you're perfect for the part, and you're injured, and let's just say you re-injure it or whatever. Yeah, never go injured there. Always tell them that, you know what, they would rather that you tell them. Say, I hurt myself, and they'll understand that too if you told them. But yeah, it's yeah.
So is it something that you look forward to when you're like, wow, I booked a job, or are you like equally excited and also like, oh?
No,
you're excited?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so you like the adrenaline.
Yeah, I like the adrenaline. I'm ready to go right now. Yeah.
Yeah. If you could go back and tell your younger self something, like what would that piece of advice be?
Tell myself that it's okay to be short.
I love that. Of course it is.
I mean, people, you say, you tell yourself, God, I wish I was tall like you. I wish I could be the quarterback, or the running back of, the big high school team or whatever. There's all these wishes that you do have. And everybody has a little kid. They're sitting in their room, looking at their poster or reading looking at their football, baseball cards. And with a girl, looking at the girly magazines and wanting to be, big model or athlete, or you're dreaming. It's a dream. If you don't have dreams, then find them. Find them, because you'll find something.
Yeah.
You'll find it. It's there. It's like all the colors and all the numbers. Pick a number. It's there. Your dream's there. Find out which one you want to do, and practice it. If you don't think that one's going to work, grab another one. Grab something. I mean, I can't dunk a basketball, but when I was up in Sacramento, and they wanted me to dunk a basketball and hit a ramp and then fly through the air and dunk a ball. Yeah, I'm going, okay, I could do that, but never thought of it because, never seen a ramp. It's the gymnastics, little ramps. They go running, bam, hit them, fly in the air. I mean, Nadia Comaneci, she comes to the gym.
Wow.
The girl with all 10s, the only one that did 10s in gymnastics, yeah, she comes to the gym.
Cool.
But fly, but I just flew up in the air, and I'm like, there's pads on the other, and it's great.
Yeah. It's so interesting because it's like you could say it's okay to insert blank. Like we all have so many insecurities, fears, things that scare us. And I think that I've had my own set of those. And it's definitely, it's like a daily practice to realize not only is it okay, but like, what if perhaps it's actually our greatest strength? Like the thing that we are fearful of, for example, one of mine was being an underdog. It's like, well, if I didn't feel like I continually have to overcome that feeling, I wouldn't have created this podcast. And this podcast is super special to me. And it's like sometimes what we perceive to be our weakness is actually our gift.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's think of something. What makes you weaker makes you stronger. I don't know, weak.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Kanye West.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There it is. Write it down, people.
Yeah. Okay. A couple more questions. What are you most proud of?
Wow. Being a great, world champion athlete. so many things I'm proud of. You know, talking to kids and junior achievement programs. The kids are on the edge. Proud of maybe helping a kid that can, that could go and do it. That's in trouble. I used to talk to kids through IBM, and I'm most proud of being a world champion. Going to the White House. And being the greatest athlete in my division.
Yeah.
But there's so many. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many that it's like I'm proud that I did this, and I'm proud that I went after that goal. And it's like obviously everything started as an athlete, and I'm proud that that I accomplished those goals. And then you can start throwing other stuff in where I went, what I did. I'm proud that I did that. Yeah,
Yeah. I love that.
You like it? Okay.
Yeah. What do you want people to remember you by? Like at the end of your career, at the end of your days, like what do you want people to remember you by?
He was badass.
You are badass. You were born
He's
badass.
badass.
Every single thing on your resume.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
I love that. Okay, so one final question. What do you think is something that's under your covers? Meaning like what's something that people don't know about you that you
that they need to know?
Or that like if somebody really knew you, they would know this.
Gosh, what's hiding under my covers that people need to know, right?
Yeah, like what's something that most people just don't know about you?
Oh, man. So many of those things. People that don't know about me. I'll give you my last dollar. I'll get, it's being helpful to people that need help. But people know that already. It's what they need to know is you got me on that last question. There's so many,
Do you feel like people understand you when they meet you?
They're curious.
Yeah.
People are more educated now. People don't make fun of people no more now because
they make fun of me all the time.
Do they?
I just came back from a family reunion. I have not been this made fun of in a long time.
Are you serious?
I was like, I don't know if I like this. But
because back when I was young, it was real tough. There was, you had to, now you watch what you say because people are gonna hurt you in another way, whether it's verbally or physically. Mm-hmm. Back then, it was like, you turn the cheek the other way. Well, we're turning the cheek the other way now, but it's it's a cruel world out there. People could be really cruel. And you know who was the worst when I was a kid? Was adults. They were just as bad as kids. Kids, I'll give a green light. They don't understand.
Yeah.
Whether you look different, walk different, talk different, have a deformity on your face, bald-headed, anything like that.
Yeah.
And these days, people don't say nothing to people no more because they know it's wrong. They know how someone's going to react, and they know someone's going to maybe turn around and hurt you for saying something.
Yeah.
Back then, parents were just as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've experienced that.
Yeah, did you?
And I also think that like somehow culturally sarcasm is considered humor, but
yeah.
I do feel like sarcasm is like punching you and then laughing about it.
Right. Yeah, and people
so offensive.
Yeah, people
How do you navigate that? Like how do you
reverse psychology? Sometimes I catch myself getting a little defensive and I have to be careful. Because what I used to do, my mom always taught me to say, ignore them, they're rude. They just, my dad would say born in a barn, they weren't educated. At home, it starts at home. Not in school, it was good. Schools, teachers were strict back then. I navigated and you could smile at them. But what happens when you smile at someone that's making fun of you, they're trying to demeanor you, and what if what will fail to them if I turn my cheek and not pout, but just like maybe when I was a kid I cried, but now people they in order for them to achieve when they're making fun of you is that they want you to retrieve. If you turn around and get mad at them and say something, then I've had it where it's like, why are you getting so upset? I'm like, why are you making fun of me?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's like all of a sudden it fires back. I'm going, you're being the rude, ignorant person, not me.
Yeah.
I didn't come to your house. You came to my house.
Yeah.
And being ignorant.
Yeah.
Or I'll start laughing.
Yeah.
Is that all you got? And so they didn't achieve. That's what I tell kids. I says, they make fun of you or laugh at you or whatever, laugh right back.
Yeah.
Because what happens, they got mad. And I ask them, why are you getting mad at me? Why are you getting upset at me when you were just laughing a minute ago? Now you're mad at me. I says, because the tables have turned. I'm not getting upset. It's not bothering me. And that's what they try to achieve to. They want to bother. They want you to be upset and bothered, and I just turn and laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so interesting because I actually feel like...
Are you crying?
No, I'm not crying. On the inside, maybe.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like as an adult, I've learned, well, okay, this person is actually being toxic is what it is. And you can set boundaries and not have to have that person in your life. Like there's a way to avoid it. But
walk away.
Yeah. But just because this is a recent personal experience, I'm like, sometimes you are kind of getting like mocked or sarcasm is thrown at you by people that you can't just like excommunicate from your life.
Right.
And I have definitely been thinking like, what are the action steps that you can do? Because sometimes I think that you almost empathize with the person that's insulting you by not wanting to make them uncomfortable for the fact that they're making you uncomfortable.
Right.
But
sometimes I feel sorry for them. I'm like, all of a sudden I see how they react when I, start cracking up, laughing at them. And then all of a sudden they become sad. And when I see sad people, I get sad.
Yeah.
So that's...
And I also think it's like a bad cycle where it's like this person might be hurting you and insulting you, but it's probably because somebody else was hurting them and insulting them and they actually don't see it. So
it's a big road, it's bump, bump it, each bump. Yeah, someone's done it to them and, and they're turning around and doing it, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyways, Doug, you are such an inspiring man. I'm so grateful that you decided to be on this show.
Oh, hey,
and
no problem.
I love your story.
Any way to help out. Yeah.
You
any way to help out.
You definitely have taken
We're
Hollywood
both in
by
black
storm.
today.
I know, right? But yeah, thank you so much.